All right. Good morning. Oh, got quiet.
It's kind of peaceful.
It's just a really good day to be here. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is Wednesday, November 6, 2024. It's 9 a.m. We're here in the Senator hearing room. And one of the things we're going to do today is to celebrate our veterans that's coming up on Monday, November 11th. And we're going to have the color guard present the colors this morning before we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
So do we stand?
Post. You can be seated. Thank you so much for your service and for all of those that we are going to be celebrating over the next few days for their service to our country. With that, we're going to have a proclamation to consider approving and recognizing a proclamation in Marion County as a Purple Heart County, and declaring November 6, 2024 through November 11th as the green light for Veterans Week in Marion County. And I'm going to say it, Sergeant Clausen, welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Alvin Clausen. You guys know me as the mild-mannered Government Relations Manager for Marion County. In another life, I was a Sergeant of Marines, and I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Serving this country was one of the greatest honors of my life, and I am proud to continue serving the residents of Marion County. Today, I present to you a proclamation to express Marion County's profound gratitude to the brave men and women who have served this country. Through this Veterans Day proclamation, we honor the nearly 19,000 veterans who call Marion County home and recognize the sacrifices they have made to protect our freedoms and uphold the values of liberty and justice. We are especially honored of the veterans among our county employees who have continued the dedication to public service, which embodies a deep commitment to their fellow citizens. Marion County remains steadfast in support for veterans, collaborating with partners at all levels to ensure they receive the benefits and resources they've earned and need to thrive in their civilian lives. In addition to designating Marion County as a Purple Heart County in 2022 and joining Operation Greenlight, we reaffirm the commitment to honoring those who have selflessly served as we declare November 6th through Veterans Day as a time of remembrance and appreciation. I encourage everyone in Marion County to join us in recognizing the courage, sacrifice, and dedication to our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Even though if you're not the most mild-mannered person. Just kidding.
He is, as we know him.
I know.
Oh.
Do you want to do the proclamation before or after we ask everyone to introduce themselves? Last year we did that and I really enjoyed it.
You want to have them introduce themselves, and then we will,
Yeah.
So if you are a veteran and you're here, would love to have you
John, do we have a mobile mic, please?
they can start,
We could.
come up to the chair and just say good morning, introduce yourself, what you do today, where you served.
And there
Go-
has to be one leader, so somebody stand up.
Somebody
and figure
start
it
us
out.
off.
Good job. You come over to the microphone, please. I thought for sure it'd be Brian Nicholas.
Good morning. Steve Brooks, Sergeant as well, United States Marine Corps, and I currently serve as IT Manager.
Thank you for being here and for your
Thank you for
service.
service,
Thank you.
Steve.
We should, I know. Feel free to line up, like, over there.
Good morning, I'm Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. I was a Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer. I left the Navy as a lieutenant.
He's coming.
Thank you for your service, Brian.
We'll make it.
I'm testing to see if this works. Cool.
It's good if you keep going over here because the camera can get you in one spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joanne Lepley. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, and I currently serve in the clerk's department as an elections clerk.
And we are so thrilled that you do. Thank you for all
Yeah.
the work leading up to yesterday and the continued days
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you. And pull one of the mics close to you so we can get you on the recording.
I'm Ana Delia Cantu, and I served in the United States Air Force 4 years, Staff Sergeant, and I am a part-time temporary employee with elections as well.
Thank you. Nice to
Thank
meet you.
you. Anybody else? How about those that are not employees in Marion County that are veterans?
That are in the audience.
That are in the audience. We'd love to have
Thank
you
you.
introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bob. I'm a veteran of 30 years in the Army, and I work for Courtney Place Veterans Housing.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you for your service.
Maybe we should sign vote just in case.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Holbert, United States Marine Corps veteran, and I'm the Executive Director for Courtney Place Veterans Housing.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bring my glasses.
Mr. Lawyer?
Yep. Surprise, it's not just about glasses.
We want you to introduce yourself, where you served.
And where you work. He's here.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Who are you?
Veterans
What'd you
Day.
do?
Okay.
Who are you? What did you do? And what do you do now?
Oh, Matt Lawyer, Senior Policy Analyst from the Board's Office, and I was a first-class petty officer, United States Navy.
Thank you for your service.
And for my glasses.
Anybody else?
I'm trying to delay this because Colin is like coming up the elevator and I know he really wants to be a part of this. He was a little delayed this morning. So do you have anything you'd like to add before I make a motion?
Well, I'm going to, from a personal perspective, I guess one of the reasons I got into politics is because I never served. And I think what our people, veterans, have done to serve this country is an amazing thing. And I can't imagine, I've heard you share your story in a way that is very moving, and I just can't imagine it. And I just want to say thank you. I was one of those in between and didn't have an opportunity to serve. And I always said, I need to give back in some way, and that's why one of the main reasons I got into service in politics is because I need to give back to my citizens and our country, and so thank you for what you do, and the motivation for me to serve those who have served us for so long. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I was trying to prolong this a little so you could join us in the proclamation.
I appreciate that. This is really important to me, so.
If
I'll
you
take a
don't-
motion.
Thank you. I move to approve a proclamation recognizing Marion County as a Purple Heart County and declaring November 6, 2024 through November 11th, 2024 as Green Light for Veterans Week in Marion County.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Will you want to start us off?
Yes, sir. before the Board of Commissioners for Marion County, Oregon, in the matter of honoring veterans through Operation Greenlight, a proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled public meeting on Wednesday, November 6, 2024. Whereas, Marion County recognizes the brave men and women of the United States military, whose selfless service has protected our freedoms, safeguarded our nation, and defended the values of liberty and justice. Whereas, we honor and express our deep appreciation to the veterans residing in Marion County, including 19,000 individuals who have served our nation with honor and distinction. And
whereas we extend a special recognition to the many veterans who are also employees of Marion County, whose continued dedication to public service is a reflection of their commitment to their fellow citizens and communities. And whereas Marion County has a long and proud history of supporting veterans and their families by working with federal, state, and local partners to ensure that those who have served have access to the vital resources, benefits, and services they need to thrive in civilian life. And whereas in 2022, the Marion County Board of Commissioners designated Marion County a Purple Heart County in recognition of the sacrifices made by members of the United States Armed Forces who were wounded or killed in combat, and remains committed to supporting and honoring these brave individuals and their families for their service in defending our nation's freedoms.
And whereas Marion County proudly participates in Operation Greenlight, demonstrating our wavering support and gratitude for veterans by shining a green light on county facilities as a symbol of appreciation for their service, sacrifice, and dedication to protecting the freedoms we cherish. And now, therefore, the Marion County Board of Commissioners declares November 6, 2024, through Veterans Day, November 11, 2024, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of the men and women who served our country in the United States military. We further declare Marion County's participation in Operation Greenlight as a gesture of unity and support for the veterans who have so honorably served our nation. Dated at Salem, Oregon, this 6th day of November, 2024.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say thanks to everybody who came today and for your service, and for those that are watching that work for Marion County. We couldn't do what we do without you, and we wouldn't be here without you. And while we are just noticing this for a few days, I hope every day any person in Marion County finds the time to thank a veteran if they notice that they're a veteran, and ask them what their service was like and why they entered. I think you'll be humbled for the information that you learn, and it might incentivize you to want to give back in a public servant way. I'm really grateful to be a member of a community that really goes above and beyond for our veterans. And AJ, I just want to say thanks to you and your peers for the work that you do every day to work to stabilize the hearts and minds of those that have served. And we can only continue to grow and strive to be better in that space. And Courtney Place is a primary example of what we should be doing. And I think through partnership, we can continue to do that and grow those spaces. So thank you.
I love that the veterans who work for Marion County come here every year. It's like one of my favorite things that happens. I don't know, it just makes me proud to work for Marion County, a place where so many veterans work and continue their service to our community. I think it's really a cool thing.
Yeah, in addition to what we're doing right now, in the window is a blown up copy of the proclamation. So as people walk by, they'll be able to see that, and they'll notice the green lights, and we'll be able to catch a few eyes and honor everybody. Yeah.
Folks should change their their porch lights to a green light for the month of November to acknowledge veterans in your surrounding community. And I would love to see the internet break, because everyone takes a picture and talks about why it's important. So find a green light bulb and put it out.
We want to
Yes, sir.
have a photo?
Yep.
Yeah? All
So
right.
more awkwardness for all of you in the audience, please come up to the front if you're a veteran. Doesn't matter if you work here or not, and we're going to take a picture. Oh, I guess I got you in the middle, so that way everyone follows.
Squeeze in, turn sideways. There we go.
Are we gonna hold that?
Put the hands down. It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
All right, get our attention, John.
You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you want to do?
So everybody, we want to do, for social media, if you are comfortable with it, we want to do a quick video, just where they're thanking you for your service, talking about what this is, so we can get more reach for this program going forward. If you're comfortable standing with them while they do that, be like 60 seconds.
We're just doing an impromptu thinking. Come on. Yeah. Just join us. Just kind of make it look like we're talking.
I know.
So he's gonna video us, and we're gonna just say thank you for your service.
And then there's.
Right. You ready, John?
I am ready.
Yeah. So we're here celebrating Veterans Day and honoring our veterans in the green light. You'll see green lights all over our buildings here at Marion County in the next 4 or 5 days through Veterans Day on November 11th. And we just want to say thank you for your service. For those of you that are working in Marion County and we're serving in our armed forces, as well as those that don't work for Marion County that have served their country. And we're just here to say thank you to everybody.
And encourage everybody to find a green light bulb and change out your porch light so we can all recognize our appreciation for veterans across Marion County.
We're very proud of the veterans who continue to serve our community as employees in Marion County. Thank you.
And now you
He
can
cut AJ off. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. And here too. Okay. All right. We have nobody signed up for public comment this morning, so we're going to move right into our presentation, Project Joy fundraiser kickoff. Welcome. Good to see you this morning, Kathy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning, Chair Cameron, Commissioners Willis and Bethel. My name is Kathy Bullen. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator here at Marion County. And I'm here today with Erin Hampton. She's the Project Joy Coordinator. And today we'd like to tell you a little bit about the Project Joy fundraiser that we do every year, who supports it. We want to recap last year's success and share some updates for this year. All right.
Erin, by the way.
So Project Joy is all about helping children in the foster care system, and some of those kids are the most vulnerable in our community. Foster care is a temporary living arrangement for kids who need a safe place to stay if their parents or guardians aren't able to care for them. And in 2023, there were about 500 kids in the Marion County foster care system, and most of them were under the age of 12. And their typical stay is about 18 months. And there's several reasons why kids enter the foster care system, usually related to some sort of unsafe living condition, and that could include abandonment or abuse, various forms of abuse. And while the state provides for the general and special needs of children in foster care, there often isn't enough funding to cover extras like Christmas and birthday gifts, and that's where Project Joy comes in. So every year, Marion County employees receive a holiday wish list from foster, biological, and adopted kids from Marion County resource families. And last year, our amazing employees supported about 61 families and 178 children in their care. And we purchased over 360 gifts, which included toys, clothes, diapers, hygiene items, and we raised, with those gifts and cash donations, we raised almost $8,800, or over $8,800. And I just have to say that the generosity of our employees and the community it just continues to amaze me every year, how we just give to these kids. So for 2024, the Project Joy campaign is going to kick off November 18th, and it's going to run through December 6th. We're going to have gift collection happening on December 9th and 10th. And in addition to the wish list items, we're also accepting donations of diapers, toiletries, backpacks, tote bags, and monetary contributions are also welcome. If anyone wanted to donate out in the community, they can bring their donation or send their donation to right here at Courthouse Square, 555 Court Street. Up in the fourth floor, our Human Resources Department will be collecting gifts and monetary donations. And if you do make a check out, please make it out to the Oregon Resource Family Alliance. So if anyone has any questions about the Project Joy fundraiser, feel free to just reach out to me directly using the contact information on the screen. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Project Joy also has a Facebook page that they post lots of updates and information as well. And just before I hand it over to Aaron, I just want to say thank you. I mean, without the support of the commissioners here today, our community, our incredible staff, we wouldn't be able to make these holiday wishes come true for these kids. And your continued support really makes it all worthwhile and makes it all possible. So now I'd like to turn it over to Erin Hampton, and she's going to share a little bit more about how your donations will directly benefit the children in our community. Erin?
Well, good morning. Again, my name is Erin Hampton. I am the coordinator. This is my second year as the coordinator. Our numbers have increased drastically. We don't have the final count right now, but right now we're sitting at about 615 kids that have applications submitted right now. Without Marion County employees and commissioners' help, there would be so much that wouldn't happen. We were able to do quite a few events this year, including special requests that the state cannot meet. We had one young man who is autistic, and a therapist recommended a fish tank because water is his calm. And because of your guys' help and donations, we were able to go out, purchase the fish tank, and take this young man to pick out his own fish, which has drastically changed his living condition in the home he's in. It really helps him calm down. We've also been able to help kids that go to a special charter school go on field trips that the state cannot provide the fee for. We've also been able to help several kids who want to play sports get that opportunity. It's humbling when you see a kid smile that hasn't smiled in a long time. It's a lot of work. The Brothers Collection is happening again. That will be happening on December 8th. We do have their ticket sale link up on our Facebook page, and I believe Kathy also has it. Trying to think what else. There's just been so much happening. We have been blessed. We did a back to school event this year, and some of the Marion County deputies were able to come out because we're really trying to change the mindset of some of these kids who've been taught that don't talk to certain people. So we were able to have them come out. And it was such a joy for me to see a bunch of teenagers hanging out and having a hamburger with these sheriff's deputies and laughing so that they're realizing that, hey, it's okay to talk to them. So it's just been a very humbling experience for me the last 2 years, especially working with some kids that are very vulnerable, and we are seeing a lot of kids come into care that are special needs. So we do have a high need for sensory items. So we've been purchasing quite a few sensory items for kids that may be blind or deaf, autistic, you name it, we're seeing the gamut.
Yeah, so, before we wrap up, I'd just like to open it up to any questions, comments you might have.
This is one of my favorite fundraisers every year. There's so much, it's so well named.
Yes.
You bring so much joy to our community.
So we also do have some people here to present some thank yous to you guys. So we have the Grinch and Buddy the Elf that are here to present you guys with the thank you.
This is like a reformed Grinch.
Yeah, giving things away rather than taking. Well done.
We also have another plaque for you guys this year that has been signed by some of our kids that are in care and some of our families as well.
Can we take a picture with Buddy the Elf and the
We
Grinch?
can do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
Nice.
All right.
I think it's impressive that you're wearing that outfit. Good for you.
Also want to make sure that everyone knows that we appreciate Kathy
Thank
and
you.
all of her hard work with working with us, because it is a lot of work, and without her, I don't know how far we would get.
They're bags.
Thank you.
Oh, I
They
need a
are
new one.
reusable totes that are washable because nobody wants to pay the extra 10 cents for a bag, so.
That's a
There
true
you
story.
It's wearing
So,
out.
and then this is for you guys as well. Again, it's signed by some of our kids and families that you guys have helped.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say, and I don't have the stats in my head, but I want to say 10 years ago, we had like over 1,300 youth in foster care in Marion County,
Yeah.
if I'm not
That's right.
mistaken. And to see the number of 435, and it's great to help the foster parents and just this whole program has been really good, along with all the other things that have been happening with our local partners, our state partners to reduce the amount of time and the amount of youth that actually end up in foster care. And those that are reunited, I'm thinking of the LEAD program. One of my ride-alongs that I did a couple years ago, I got to visit with a mom who had gone through LEAD and was reunited with her kids out of foster care. And just, it's an example of all the good things that are happening here to change one life at a time. And that's what I think this is really so cool. And I echo your comments, Commissioner Willis, about it's one of the best fundraisers we can do because it does bring joy, it brings hope and joy to people's lives. So thank you so much for the work you do behind the
I love it.
scenes to make it happen. And even if you have Grinch on your team, I still love it.
He's a pretty good Grinch. The kids get a kick out of it. I don't know. I mean, for me, we started our journey several years ago. I actually have an 8-year-old little girl in my home that we took in at 8 months, and we adopted her. So, and we've had other kids that have come in and out of our home that are adults, and they still consider our home as their safe place to come. So
That's great.
I recommend anybody who's interested. There's a high need for resource families to love these kids and guide them.
And you can always be a respite if you can't just be a foster parent.
Yeah.
Very true.
If you just want to take a weekend and share your love with a kid, you can bring them into your home out of a foster home, which is super important for the foster family to maintain their own connection with their own immediate family, but also for that kiddo to know that there's more than just one family on the planet that's seeing them. Erin, I just want to say thanks for the work that you do.
Thanks.
And I actually have a question for you because I should know the answer to this, but I don't. Are you only partnering with DHS for kids navigating foster care?
Not always. I actually just recently, Project Joy is going to start taking a bigger role with Oregon Resource Family Alliance. We just met with all the champions from every DHS office in Oregon, found out what some of their needs are, and my amazing team and I went through and were able to meet some of those needs for those DHS offices. A lot of people don't know, but unfortunately in the past, kids that came into care sometimes would come with nothing or they came with a garbage bag.
Right.
There has been a new rule passed that no child can come that way. They have to come with a backpack or a duffel bag, and my team worked with some dentists, local dentists. We got toothbrushes, toothpastes. We went out and bought each bag a brand new fuzzy blanket. So any kid that comes into care is coming with a backpack or a duffel bag with a brand new blanket, toothbrush, toothpaste. There's some of the smaller counties that don't have a lot of the funding from the state. They requested things like toiletries, diapers. Trying to think, Noelia might know more. There just a lot of requests. Some of them were requests for weighted blankets. That's a huge need, especially for a child who's been through something really traumatic, or maybe a special needs child. Weighted blankets can sometimes be a huge comfort. So
Well, the reason I ask is because nobody in this room will be surprised by my comments. The state's not perfect.
Nope.
And they're doing a job that is impossible. But locally, we have a handful of youth that have failed out of foster care and are living on the street.
Yeah.
And they are overlooked repeatedly by many, well, everybody, frankly, in their space. There's an organization called Punks with Purpose that allows those youth to navigate through their new resource center, which is just across the street from our building.
Okay.
Those kids, they don't just need Christmas presents. They need a much greater investment. But I'm just curious if there's a way that we can try to figure out how to have Project Joy partner with Punks with a Purpose to get those kids some
We
attention.
absolutely could do that. They would also, we have kids that technically, which is really odd to me, I hate when I hear people say, oh, well, they aged out, because technically we're supposed to be helping them till they're 21.
Right.
And a lot of these kids are not informed, and they need to be informed. So we would absolutely love to help them where we can. I do know that we help the Jackson Street Youth Shelter that is in Lane County as well. There's been needs from them, and we absolutely do everything we can. Granted, we operate on a really small budget, but Orpha has been amazing with me being able to reach out to the board and ask, hey, we have this special need, and they've been wonderful about voting yes. They've been giving money to couple different programs to also train new people to come in and be helpful to these kids.
Well, I'll figure out how to get Kathy connected with Haley, and whatever I can do to support you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I have a question. Oregon Resource
Oregon
Family Alliance, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on the website because I wanted to donate $100, and I don't see a place where I could do that. So, and I was thinking maybe a QR code or something, but I don't see a place on their website to be able to.
Is there one on the Project Joy website?
There's not. We don't have a QR code. We are working on that, and I don't know if it's on their old page, which was the Oregon Foster Parent Association. Unfortunately, it sounds weird, but they changed the name to Resource because some of our kiddos get bullied when people find out that they're in foster care.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we say Resource, and for us, you'll notice like our trees with the roots is families constantly change. So for us, these kids become part of our root. They become part of our tree, our family. So I don't know. That's a question I would have to ask Don Darlin. I wish he could be here. Unfortunately, he's actually a retired Marine who's getting ready to face a pretty serious surgery where he'll be out of commission for about 3 months. And he started Oregon Foster Parent Association 30 years ago. And he is probably one of the most giving, amazing people I've ever met.
So I'm on their website, donate. There's a donate button. So how do we make sure it gets, if you donate, that it gets back to Project Joy locally?
Sue, who's our accountant, is pretty good about being able to tell what's what. Because right now we have stuff coming in from the Brothers. People have also been going to the Brothers collection and donating through there.
Okay. So just if anybody's watching this, you could go to the, it is ofpa.com is their website, helping foster children, and you can donate there, and you would just put a note on your donation for Project Joy, right?
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Can we take a picture with the Grinch?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh my God,
There's a guy.
Is John back there?
Danielle's got a guy.
No, John's not back there. We'll find a different guy. He's not. I just gotta shake your hand. Sharon, could you help us? I got
Right in the middle, of course.
Like, do you all want to be in this picture on this, please? Yes. Okay, great.
He's got green on today.
Come on, Project Joy kids.
You squeeze in.
Yeah, these are some of our kiddos.
Yeah.
They're really
Thank you
good
for being
helpers.
here.
Okay.
I like the back touch. All right, he should be in this thing.
Well,
I heard comments about you guys
somebody's
showing
gotta
up.
take the photos.
Actually, we.
Yeah, get in here. Yeah.
Do you guys do shop at the clock?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if we get picked.
Oh.
All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, I got a few.
I think you should get picked since you came here.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the sheriff can pull a string here too. Hi. What's your name? Octavia. Blue. Nice to meet you. I'm Danielle.
Hi, Blue. I'm Kevin.
Say it again. Secreta? Secret. Nice to meet you. At least I tried. Thank you.
We
This
do
is the
have
guy I
quite
wanna
a
hug.
few kids that
Thank
have
you. Good for being here.
Thanks for
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
I think I went up in the office already.
Yeah, we do.
See, that's the kind of thing, we could have a thing in the lobby.
We could also have one in the window.
Right,
Where's Chanel?
well.
The next window change should be a Project Joy display.
Make sure it's easy. Okay, great, that was wonderful. We're gonna move into our consent calendar. Commissioner Willis, if you would like to move that for us.
Mr. Chair, I move the consent agenda under Public Works, receive the hearings officer's decision denying conditional use, case number 24-005, Hector Fregoso. Receive the hearings officer's decision approving administrative review, case number 24-012, Glenn W. and Marjorie Morley Revocable Trust. Approve amendment number 1 to the contract for services with Ash Creek Forest Management LLC to add $601,955, of which an estimated $582,500 will utilize Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board grant funding, and an estimated $19,455 will utilize county funding, for a new contract total of $1,391,955 for herbicide treatment, seeding, and the supply of planting of trees and shrubs for wildfire impacted county parks and road right-of-way through January 31st, 2026.
I second the motion.
Then a motion and a second on the consent calendar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. That is done. We'll move into our first action item. Under Community Services, consider approval of a subrecipient agreement with the Church of the Park to provide $250,000 in community development block grant funding to support the purchase of a commercial kitchen equipment meal delivery vehicle retroactive July 1st, 2024. And Steve, welcome.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Dickey with Marion County Community Services. This morning we bring to you the subrecipient agreement for Church at the Park. This is a project to purchase commercial kitchen equipment and also for a meal delivery vehicle to be able to centralize the production of their meals for their services that they provide throughout the Salem-Keizer area. This project was submitted during our application cycle last fall and went through the review process and was included in our annual action plan, which was submitted to HUD earlier this year. This is for $250,000, and the project is ready to move forward, and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Steve?
I don't have any questions.
Talk about this.
Nope.
All right. Commissioner Bethel will take a motion.
I move to approve the subrecipient agreement with the Church at the Park to provide $250,000 in community development block grant funding, to support the purchase of commercial kitchen equipment and a meal delivery vehicle retroactive to July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
I'll second the motion.
Made a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'm just gonna, just in case, I'm gonna declare a potential conflict of interest as I donated several pieces of equipment to their existing kitchen, just in case, yeah. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Steve Dickey Show. So we're up again. Consider approval of the sub-recipient agreement with Crossroads Communities to provide $175,000 in home ARP, which is American Rescue Plan funding for staffing and administrative expenses to provide service connections and support to the vulnerable rural households, retroactive July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2029.
Again, this is a subrecipient agreement with Crossroads Communities. It is for them to be able to expand services that they've been currently providing in Lynn County into Marion County. Their focus is to be able to work with at-risk households and homeless individuals, primarily in rural parts of the county. Their approach is to be able to connect existing resources and also to identify barriers such as transportation, availability of necessary resources, and to help bridge those gaps through the efforts that they put in place. In conversations with their executive director recently, they have located an office in Sublimity, and they have hired staff. Met a couple of their staff recently at a service integration team that are targeted specifically for Marion County. And this is for $175,000, and it is to get this program initiated and moving forward and continue to build in Marion County. Be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner, you good? You good? Okay. All right, let's take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the subrecipient agreement with Crossroads Communities to provide $175,000 in home ARP, American Rescue Plan funding for staffing and administrative expenses to provide service connections and support to vulnerable rural households, retroactive to July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2029.
I second the motion.
In a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Steve, you got the trifecta today.
Yep.
Consider approval of recipient agreement with the Silverton Area Community Aid to provide $250,000 in community development block grant funding to assist in the rehabilitation and renovation of the Silverton Area Community Aid property for a social services hub retroactive to July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
And again, this is a subrecipient agreement awarded to Silverton Area Community Aid. Silverton Area Community Aid has been providing services in the greater Silverton area for many, many years, but have been operating predominantly out of the basement of the what has been the community center, but has not been an adequate location. They were able to purchase a different facility within Silverton. It was formerly a Seven Brides Brewing facility, and way back when I remember it, it was actually the Copeland Lumber Yard. But it is now being renovated for the purpose of being a community resource center, which include a food pantry, meeting locations, office space for services like WIC to be able to rotate through and provide easier access for people to gain from those services. This project has already started and is underway. These funds, along with others, will bring the project through completion and be able to go into full operation, and be able to, happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Steve?
I was just reading quickly that we had asked a couple of weeks ago, or whenever we saw him upstairs, about the funding gap. Can you decipher this email? What's 15%? Like she's stating in the email that they have a 15% gap of a over $4 million project.
Yeah, so
$6 million project.
on the spreadsheet, and she went through the description on this. They have more than four. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories of funding. They have the category which are the funds that have already been secured, funds that are anticipated, funds that have been solicited, planned funds, and in-kind funds. Where they are right now is under the secured funding of their overall project. They have $3.22 million of that already secured. So the remaining amount is coming through grants that have been requested through a number of foundations. And in the email, she mentioned that one of those grants, they will have a decision by the end of this month. The other one, another one will be by the beginning of December. And then the last one of those three would be in January to make the final decision about the solicited funds. And then they have the planned funds, which are the $345,000 in their sheet. Some of that is from pledges that they've done through fundraisers, and these are funds that people have committed to provide. And then the last is in kind, which is some of that is through the services from the architects and the contractors. And in her email, she also mentioned that not all of those are taken into consideration at this point, just the ones that they have identified to date.
So they're just under $1 million shy.
Yes.
Is what it looks like based on the math with those three areas.
Yes.
And is it your understanding that they don't plan to open the facility until they're 100% funded?
No, I think they are opening it in segments. In fact, I know that they have just started to re-engage with, it's not a full service integration team, but they call it the Silverton Task Force. They are starting to hold those as hybrid meetings. The in-person portion is being held at this new facility. And I know that there have been some groups that have been starting to meet in their meeting space. So as they have had the funding, they've been able to complete some of the smaller pieces. They also have 2 tenants right now in the portions of the building that they don't need for what they're intending to do right now, that are paying income to them as on a regular basis.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Commissioner, any comments?
No.
I just want to say that a couple things. Just these three, we haven't approved the third one yet, but these three funding approvals here weren't happening a long time ago, a few years ago.
Right.
And it's great that we have these resources that we can allocate out to the county in different places. This one in particular, I know it says Silverton, but it's only a few miles from Mount Angel, and
Yes.
and it's only a few miles from Scotts Mills, and you know it's more of a regional.
Yeah, it's the area,
It's
Silverton area.
the Silverton area, and I think this is one of those resources we really need in Marion County out there, and I'm glad that the city is, you know, working on this community aid center. So I'm really pleased that we can allocate some resources to it.
Can you follow up with Sarah and find out if a letter of support and request for those funding needs that she has out from the board would be helpful?
Yes.
And would you draft it if she says yes for our signature?
Yes.
Great.
Right.
I really want her to get those particular grants as soon as possible so they can get it
Absolutely.
fully open.
Yes.
And stress that it is a regional approach out
Well,
there.
I just think sometimes
Yeah.
foundations, I've been on selection committees before, and being able to see that there's been large organizations that have leveraged funding. You know, if she can use these funds as a match to try to really gain the extension for the gap closure, that would be really helpful. And we don't usually think outside the box here in Marion County, but we should be. And I want her to close that gap really fast,
Yes.
because those doors need to get open. We're
I
coming
didn't
into.
know we had a box.
Somebody around here
All right.
does. Okay.
Take a motion.
I move to approve the subrecipient agreement with the Silverton Area Community Aid to provide $250,000 in community development block grant funding to assist in the rehabilitation and renovation of the Silverton Area Community Aid property for a social services hub retroactive to July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Steve, thank you for your work. Really appreciate it.
I want to say thanks for being out there.
Yeah.
I got
Yes.
a report recently and have heard you're kind of all over. So that's super important, and I appreciate that you're out there, like, kicking the dirt.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Time for a picture show, maybe. Public Works.
Nope, he's like, I'm busy. I don't have time for
Oh,
slideshows
my.
today.
Okay, we got him working too hard. He can't put a video together for me anymore. Consider approval of an order to establish temporary speed zone on a portion of Ellen Road located between the cities of Aurora and Donald at Interstate 5 interchange through November 2027. I was looking down here. Ryan, you're over there. Welcome.
Good morning. For the record, Ryan Crowther, Marion County Public Works Capital Projects Manager. As you said, I'm here to talk about the construction project at the Donald Aurora interchange. This project's being completed by ODOT. Because of the construction, we are looking to do a temporary speed order. It would reduce the 35 mile an hour zone to 25 miles an hour from approximately 500 feet west of Bent's Road east to Dolores Way. It would also reduce the 55 mile an hour section to 40 miles an hour from Dolores Way northeast to approximately 1,200 feet east on Ellen Road. Construction is expected to be completed in 2027. When construction is completed, this would be lifted and speeds would go back to their statutory limits. With that, do you have any questions?
Questions?
When it's completed, when's that?
It's expected to be completed in 2027.
So for the next 2 years, 3 years?
3.
Okay. I mean, it's fine by me, but I think people are going to be like, oh my gosh. And also maybe
Right.
revenue will increase in the sheriff's office because people drive way too fast on that road.
Yeah, well, and if you've driven up I-5 lately, right in there, it's down to 50 or 55 miles an hour as you go through the realignment. There'll probably be several realignments as they do those bridges, so
Yeah.
over the top. We're so thankful that this interchange is getting done, though. It's
gonna be so
been a
great.
long time coming. Commissioner Willis, if you're ready.
I am.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve an order to establish a temporary speed zone on a portion of Ellen Road located between the cities of Aurora and Donald at Interstate 5 interchange through November 2027.
I second the motion.
Yeah, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's done. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Chris, consider approval of early work amendment number 2 to the construction manager general contractor agreement with Slade and Contracts, Inc. I'm not gonna go through the details because you will. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. So this contract before the board is for the early procurement of really the main components of the proposed treatment plant to serve Mill City and Gates. So this proposed plant that has been through a substantial amount of design so far has identified a sequencing batch reactor process, which in summary is a biological reactor that is used to treat and clean the wastewater generated by the cities. Then the treated effluent is then discharged to the groundwater. So the sequencing batch reactor is a workhorse of that plant. Those are very specialized. Only really a few manufacturers make some of each type. And so we had the CMGC contractor put out bids based on the specifications prepared by the engineers. And we did an evaluation process that looked at the actual cost of the units themselves to be delivered and installed, but also the impacts that those different designs would have on the overall cost of the plant itself. So for example, one unit could be a little bit cheaper, but with a larger footprint, it requires more structural concrete with a net overall increasing cost of the project. And then we also evaluated the ability of those systems to control long-term costs. So the life cycle operating cost of those systems was taken into account, as well as the flexibility in dealing with a very challenging permitting project like this, where an operator could meet different permitting limits, which would be beneficial in protecting the quality of the river. So all those were taken into account based on the bidding process, and the best scoring unit was selected and needs to be procured. The lead times on these are quite long, so it can be over a year in some cases. So we want to go ahead and get those orders in now so they can start fabrication. The contract also includes a upflow moving bed filter, which is another part of the pre-treatment before it goes into the sequencing batch reactor. And so both of those two pieces are identified as long lead. We want to get them in now. We're confident in the specifics of design for those specifications to go out. And then the plant will kind of be built around them, so by the time that they arrive, they'll all be ready to be dropped in and installed. This is a total cost for the two components of about $1.6 million, which would increase the Sladen contract from about $478,000 to $2.1 million. That's all coming out of ARPA funds, so it is entirely federally funded with no impacts to local budgets.
Okay. Questions?
No, we're going to be seeing this guy a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to keep moving forward.
As you described how you analyzed which piece of equipment to purchase, I hope there's a whole bunch of smarter people than me in that room. I mean, how do you analyze all those different criteria and come up with you don't need to explain that to me, but that's what was going through my mind, that all those different criteria to come up with the best purchase for this system. Really appreciate the work that Sladen and you and others are doing to keep this project rolling along. And I'm still like, right, can't wait till the first toilet gets flushed in Mill City and Gates, so keep moving along.
Thank you. Just to note that scoring matrix and procedure was taken before the contract review board sometime last summer. Don't recall exactly when.
Okay. All right. So.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
All right, I move approval of early work amendment number 2 to the construction manager general contractor agreement with Sladen Constructors to add $1,621,567 in American Rescue Plan Act funding for a new total of $2,100,044 for the purchase of essential wastewater treatment plant equipment for the North Canyon Canyon Sewer Project through December 31st, 2026.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, item number 11, consider an appeal of the hearings officer's decision denying conditional use case 24-006 Joy Blackman Revocable Trust. John, you're
Good morning,
back.
Commissioners. I am back. All right, so quickly going over the background. The Joy Blackman Revocable Trust applied for a conditional use permit to establish a non-farm dwelling on a 5.9 acre parcel in a special agriculture zone located in the 3300 block of Little Haven Lane South in Salem. The Marion County Hearings Officer held a duly noticed public hearing on this application on May 2nd, 2024, and issued a decision denying the application on July 30th, 2024. Based on the determination that a variance would be required to Marion County Code 17-110-800 to allow more than 4 dwellings to be accessed off the private road, Little Haven Lane. The appellants disagree with the hearings officer's application of Marion County Code 17-110-800 and request the board make an interpretation of the code. A duly noticed public hearing with the board was held October 16th, 2024, and the record was left open until November 6th, 2024, today. So during that period of time, we got some comments and some information. One of the things we were looking for was a deed prior to 1977 or a plat. So the first option for consideration was to approve the application based on evidence that the parcel was created prior to 1977, and that evidence did not materialize. So I'm here today to ask for approval or denial of conditional use case 24-006 based on approval of the application on interpretation of Marion County Code 17-110-800 that the parcel, sir, is the 4th property being served by the easement. Another option is denying the appeal and upholding the hearings officer's decision of denial, or remanding the request to the hearings officer for further consideration. And that's it.
Okay. And just to note that the public hearing was closed, and we had a time for that evidence or those to be presented, and it was. So now we can deliberate as to what we would like to do in this case.
Mr. Chair, if I may, and John, this is not directed at you at all, but something that was submitted as a memo from Marion County from John Rasmussen to Brandon Reich. And so I was wondering if Brandon could come up here and I could ask him questions about this document.
I wouldn't hate it if you spoke up.
And Commissioner Bethel wouldn't hate it if I spoke up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So staff.
Oh, I'm sorry, shoot.
Is it in the packet that we received?
It's in the, we received an email, let's see, it is CU 24-006 Jocelyn Open Record, I believe is what it's titled. Submission, 10/30/2024. We received an email from Brenda on, it's not that as important because I'm going to ask kind of broader questions, but we received it on Thursday, October 31st, 2024 at 9 a.m. from Brenda. Brandon, one of the things that, this is kind of wild, but this is actually the hardest land use case that I've seen since I became a commissioner. I've actually really wrestled with this. And one of the things that I'm struggling with is I'm struggling with somebody having a legal property right in an easement that could effectively be extinguished. And that makes me super uncomfortable, that either the neighbors could effectively prevent that right from existing, or the county could effectively prevent that right from existing. And one of the questions, or I think the statements, was that what the hearings officer decided changed or overruled Marion County's interpretation. And so my question is can you kind of give us some color on that? Because I'm curious about, has Marion County always interpreted its code that this access, this other access means that there aren't actually the limited number of houses that are being served by Little Haven Road? Has that been a long-standing interpretation of Marion County, that if there's two roads next to a piece of property, that property isn't counted as one of the houses being served?
Yeah, Marion County Planning Director Brandon Reich, that's correct. We've always applied it that way.
You've always interpreted it that way?
As far as I know, the time I've been here, we always have, and before, as far as I know.
So one of the things that came out in the record is the folks that are opposed to this interpretation have said that that's not practicable, that for safety reasons and other reasons, it doesn't really make sense to view that as a possibility. And this memo basically says that, and this is from the engineering department, not from the planning department, but says this available site distance from access connection with use crest south is inadequate due to road geometry, slope, embankment, and vegetation. The applicant shall attempt to secure a vision easement from the property owner. And this was for a proposed partition. How do you think about that? Does the practicability of access impact kind of the planning interpretation, or no, that's a separate process?
That's what the hearings officer found, that practicability was required. The code says a lot or parcel having direct access by abutting upon a public street. The land use code doesn't say, for instance, direct access by a permit to access a public street. So the presumption is, in most situations, you would be able to get access onto a public street if it's absolutely necessary, like a last resort, the only other option for that. And those situations where you can't, then sometimes there are additional properties or additional traffic than for using an easement.
Okay.
Because most of this is residential, it's not considered generally to be a high traffic. It's not like there's commercial or industrial, something that could be very impactful to access and roadways.
Okay. And then one of the things that the opponents of of this brought up is that the terrain and the location of this easement, again, could be impracticable when it goes. So can you talk a little bit about how would this be implemented? If we find in favor of the applicant in this case, we find in favor of the planning department's interpretation, which I think is a reasonable one, what happens next from the applicant's perspective? Do they get to just go pave a road through the backyards of everybody else where the easement is? What kind of permitting process do they have to go through? What kind of safety considerations does the county look at? Like, how does that process work?
They can improve the easement. They would improve the easement, at least, I think it's up to paving or gravel up to their property. They would have to obtain an access easement to use the existing, whenever you add a dwelling to an existing easement that's already using access off a road, they'd have to get an access approval to add a dwelling to that existing easement. And that would be reviewed by the Public Works, by Land Development. And that would be along that roadway. So using the same easement for an additional dwelling, they would review that to see if there's still a safety aspect or anything that needs to be improved on that where the access connects to the road, like if vegetation has grown up or something that could be dangerous for access.
And one of the other considerations was that potentially there would be another route. Is that right? For the applicant to have permission to use this easement? Is that right? Like that? Is there a, what do they call it? I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now. But another process that they would have to go through.
That would just be obtaining the access easement to use the same existing easement, but now for one new home. I think.
Who are they obtaining an access easement from?
Land Development.
Access?
Kind of like a driveway easement or a driveway access. Don't
they already have an easement?
They have an easement, but there's no right for the home to use the roadway until they get the access
from the
approved.
county. The county is the one that grants that, is that right?
And it's not approval to use the easement, it's approval to access onto the public road.
Okay.
You do the same for a driveway, but because the house is so far off, there's still a requirement.
Yeah.
LDEP would have the specifics on that, but that's how I understand it works.
Okay. And so is access review part of that process?
It would be part of the building permit process.
Be part of the building permit process.
It could be part of the partition process to do some level of review. Well, there's no division here, so be part of the building permit process.
Okay, and then something else came up about a property thinking about or applying for partition maybe in the past and believing that wasn't possible. If we make a decision reversing the hearings officer and upholding planning's interpretation here, would that then allow that property to also partition?
Mm-hmm. You can partition, it would, if you uphold the planning director or the planning's position on this, there's one more home can be established off that easement.
In addition to the applicant's home?
Just one more.
Just the application.
Just the application here. And then any additional ones, homes that were requested could be part of a variance. So they could apply for a variance.
Maybe that's maybe that's my question. So, sorry, that was what I was missing. So if we uphold the hearings officer decision, the applicant could apply for a variance?
Yes.
So what is that process like?
The variance is to show that the impact to the neighborhood and the roadway basically wouldn't be significant if you add one more dwelling off that existing easement. And we've done that a number of times all around the county where we've had additional dwellings, 5 or 6 or even 7 and 8 off an existing easement. And it depends sometimes on how the easement's improved. Is it ready for that additional traffic? How is the access? Where it gets onto the public road? Is it safe enough for the additional traffic?
Okay, so I think this is my question. So and I didn't ask it correctly before. So my understanding is the way that planning is interpreting this is there's a piece of property that is on Little Haven, and then is it also Viewcrest? Is that the, so it's the adjacency to Viewcrest is what allows this property over here to be one of the four, right? If this property here that abuts both Little Haven and Viewcrest wants to split up into more than one, having a second dwelling there, would they be able to do that using the same logic?
Yes.
Without going through the variance process?
Yes, if this doesn't go through. There's room for, this would be this case here, the fourth off the easement under that planning interpretation.
Right.
And anything additional would need a variance. Or if the other property had divided up and they had been the fourth, then this one would be the fifth and would require a variance.
I see, I understand, okay.
So, or the sixth and seventh would be a variance.
I understand, okay, thank you. Okay, those are my questions.
Very helpful, actually. I don't have any questions.
All right. What do you want to do?
I don't know. I want you guys to tell me what you want to do, and then I'm going to keep thinking about it.
Well, so during the public hearing process, we kind of went round and round and round about proper documentation. And I think one of the things that I was concerned about was that you couldn't, at the time, materialize, as John said, documentation on the deed that created the easement.
No, that's an easement was filed in 1971 with the county.
Yeah.
And this is part of what makes this difficult for me, is from a policy perspective, I care that the other affected property owners had notice
Yeah,
that this person had a legal right to cross their land when they bought their land.
right,
I'm convinced they did have notice of that.
okay.
However, a deed wasn't filed before 1978. So I think we could say that we think there's enough evidence to prove a lot was created before 1978. I think that possibly has bigger ramifications.
Right.
That I'm not sure that I'm fully briefed on as far as that.
I would go with the first option.
But I do think that the affected homeowners had notice of that.
I agree with you, they did have notice. They even admitted on the record that they had
Yeah.
notice. So that's not, I don't feel like that's up for debate, for me.
Yeah. But the impact is real to
Yes.
those homeowners, and so that's what I'm wrestling with.
Well, I'll just say the original interpretation was that there is a property that abuts Viewcrest. So this one would be the fourth. That's the way I would go about this. And that's what planning has done historically in the past. So, it's there's a precedence there that sets that way. That's where I would go.
Earlier, what you stated earlier about the legal right to the easement really bothers me, being a landowner myself.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that there hasn't been that in the history of Marion County and our application processes or filings, we didn't have exactly what we needed to be able to make everybody feel good decision today, and or they could own the knowledge that they had when they purchased the properties on these other partials. So I agree with Commissioner Cameron. I do support upholding the planning department's decision and overturning the hearings officer decision.
Okay, I think I'm comfortable with that. But like I said, this is a really hard one, but I'm comfortable voting that way as well.
Okay. Well, feel free to make the motion.
You can make the motion.
Nope.
Commissioner Cameron, do you want to make the motion?
You want the chair to make the motion?
I just think it's the wording. I'm not afraid to move it.
Council can help us with the wording. So council, I think make sure the motion that I'm hearing that the board would like to make is that we would uphold the planning director's decision and basically deny the hearing.
Overturn the hearings officers.
Overturn the hearings officer's decision and uphold the planning director's decision based on the frontage interpretation of that lot. Is Brandon, council?
I think that's sufficient.
Yeah.
So moved.
Oh, okay, so you made a motion, you want to make sure we're clear on the motion.
The motion is to overturn the hearings officer's decision and uphold the planning department's decision.
I'll second that motion.
I don't think it needs to be based on, it's in the record.
Because that was in the planning director's interpretation. Okay, got it. You got a second.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Yeah. And a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right. Whoa. Anything we want to talk about now? The sheriff left. I wanted to congratulate him on the record, but
I'm sure he's got lots to do.
congratulate the sheriff on his reelection, or
Well,
his election.
I will say what I do every year, which is it was a great day yesterday because we had peaceful elections.
Yeah.
The people got to vote. Some folks won, some folks lost, but every time that we have a free and fair election in America, it's another win. Yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning, that I've been doing this a while now, and I've worked on some campaigns that I've lost, and I've worked on some campaigns that I've won, but I've always tried to, the next day, be thankful for the process, be thankful that we live in a democratic republic where we get to vote. I just think that's a really important thing.
Congratulations to you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
On your reelection. Looking forward to serving. I said this to the sheriff last night on the phone when I called him. I said, looking forward to serving with you the next 4 years. I went, ooh, I should have said for at least 2.
The voters get to have a say.
The voters get to have a say about,
decide what it's gonna be 4
say
years.
about me serving 4 or not, yeah.
Well, it's been a
yeah.
privilege to be here for the last 4 years, and I'm really grateful for the support that I've earned from both of you, the relationship that we have, the trust that we've built, and the truly just the ability for each of us to perform as our authentic selves as we take on some pretty big issues, just like the one we had today. This job isn't easy, but it is certainly rewarding.
As we just witnessed, right?
Yeah. And
Tough
I,
decisions.
yesterday I went to an election party last night, and, going into it, it felt a little like, I don't know. Not having an opponent is a big deal for me. And while I didn't receive 100% of the vote, right? That's just not possible in the system that we, in my opinion, that we live in, or America that we live in. I really feel humbled that while there are people who didn't vote for me, and that the opposing party, probably doesn't love me, they didn't put up a huge fight, which means to me that there's an opportunity for us to still sit at a table and work together, which is truly important to me and the ultimate goal, because we need to serve everybody that lives in this community. And I do try every single day to do that. And so I'm excited and exhausted because it's been a long 4 years, even though it went like that.
I mean, the benefit that you have is you've run an election before. When I saw the sheriff yesterday, I was like, man, there's a whole bunch of stress rolling off his shoulders tonight.
I remember like it was yesterday, though.
Yeah.
It's, when you're in it for reasons other than what the naysayers believe, it's heavy. As I said in 2020 when I was campaigning, I have a basket that everybody puts their hope in, and it just gets heavier as I walk down the lane of campaigning. And then when you win, you still have to hold that basket and honor those hopes. And I really believe that that's what we do. We show up every day and try to fulfill the hopes of the folks in our community. And that is very, very different for every person that stands in front of us. And the sheriff feels the same way. I said to Nick last night, and I'll say it here, he has far exceeded my expectations post the appointment last year.
He's done a great job, yeah.
He was the most qualified of the individuals that applied for the appointment. I stand by our unanimous decision there. But I'm super proud of him for the effort that he's put in over the last year and a half and the way that he's transforming what Marion County Sheriff's Office looks like in Marion County through his presence and participation and thoughtful interaction with our community in all corners of it. He's everywhere, and that matters to our community, which is why he won. And he has a big job with some big decisions and complicated, things to do. And I know he's up for the task, and I know he's relieved that he can just really get to focusing on that work and putting this behind him, this campaign. It's going to be great. And I'm really looking forward to working with him in 2025 in the legislature, because he killed it in a short session this year.
Well, for the first time in 26 years, the people of Marion County had a chance to elect a sheriff. Don't get me started.
Sure.
All right, so, hey, and here's what I say, election day is a victory every time, right? You either get to serve here or you serve someplace else.
That's right.
It's an honor to serve the people of Marion County and the people of the state of Oregon, and I love what you said. We serve all 350,000 citizens, not just the ones that voted for us. And that's a challenge sometimes, and we just had one of those in front of us. And sometimes you make people happy and sometimes you don't, but that's why we get to do what we get to do. And I want to thank staff. Jan, I'm looking over there and looking Brian and legal counsel and Brenda, and the hard thing about elections is you go through it and you get elected, but we are blessed to have a staff that serves us and serves the people of Marion County at a high level. And you can hear stories all around that's not always the case. And so I want to say thank you to our staff. I want to say thank you to our veterans that were here today and those that have come before them. And we get to have this, like you said, peaceful transfer, fingers crossed, peaceful transfer of power in the United States of America that you don't get to witness.
No, lots of places don't have that. I also think, and I wanted to add this, is we do serve everybody, but elections also are an opportunity for us as a community, as a country, to choose a direction. I think when you're in when you're in a public office, I think there's a certain amount of humility you have, that you have hard decisions, but you have to make them, and then you have to move forward, right? And if you make a wrong decision, you got to correct it, and you got to, and so I do think that one of the things that elections gives us is it allows us to come together, make a decision, choose a path, right? And then the next election, if we didn't get it quite right, we can choose a different path, right? But I do think that sort of crystallization, especially when we live in a time that's so divided, sometimes people can kind of live in that divisiveness, like, oh my gosh, there's all these people, we have all these different opinions, we can't get along. And yes, that's true, but we still have to move forward. We still have to make decisions on things. We still have to take direction on things. And elections do give us that ability as a community to make a decision and to move forward and to try to get a little bit better. So I also think that that's also something that's really valuable about the election process, is allows us as a community to move forward.
I'm laughing because I looked over at Brenda and I had my stuff ready to walk out the door. I hadn't even adjourned yet. We hadn't even signed
She
papers.
wants to sign.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
God bless America. We are adjourned.